say gridlock? What's your D23 experience today?
And then I'm gonna go run this over. You just send him a text to meet me out in the foyer. I'll just meet him.
Anytime you get the people walking by, especially like after the night out.
Yep.
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good.
Should we give you our lunch? We're off now. Running at 2. Right. Yeah, but I mean, I'm off, and I was going to go walk around. I was just going to come back to the line.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you guys were doing your own thing because lunch was so late.
Justine.
Oh,
I asked Caitlin to come in. She goes, not really.
No, I thought we had talked about it.
Said you sent her a picture of kind of the madness. She's like, I'm good at Disneyland. I'm like, I don't blame you. And I instead of yelling over people. Instead of yelling over people. So I was like, no, you have your Sunday ticket. And then we have a 3-day
Oh, but no, I'm
Thank you very much. Good to meet you. And we're going to be here tomorrow too. And you met all the other. Well, she said that the whole place in line for us in the morning. I was wondering when we'll figure it out. There's so much talk.
And you're happy you're not way richer. Have fun.
I should probably let the rest of the people have the same conversation.
Solid trade.
So let me make sure that they know too.
Oh yeah. Shotgun that shit. You're sitting on the floor and you're like, pour. Look at this. Oh my god.
Bring some balance too.
Yeah. Waiting in line is usually more particularly quick either, like a little bit slow.
So was I wrong and everybody else has decided to...
Well, that's what they had agreed to, but they're okay to change the plan. So no worries.
I'm not getting in the middle of the whole hair. I'm Huh? I never know. I just follow along.
Okay? And drink what?
I'm standing right now.
I am so happy you did too, my friend. I need to have
Your face buttons today.
a napkin. And then we're gonna what?
No, my pleasure. Thank you, and again, apologies. We'll get it right on day 3.
Nick. Nicholas. Nick.
I should have gone to Mickey's with Glendale when, oh my goodness, Marvel Comics.
Huh?
My friend Brian, or Brian Crosby,
Yeah.
he's going to be drawing Spider-Man at some point there today.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I think it's
so-
coming years at some point.
Yeah.
Nick, are you done with these? Nick?
No, I need to know what time the Marvel thing is at. And where is it at?
Nick. So is the panel over yet?
That's a good question. I just realized I haven't sat and been sitting in all night. I feel like it's probably a good idea to get up.
Damn it, this song's been in my head for like 3 days now. So yeah, get
Right there. Is that it?
No.
guy.
I'm sure.
Blue guy.
I'm gonna sit next to you.
I'm sitting.
My giant head right on camera is behind your head.
Sorry. So one of my friends was
They're on Cruella. I think it's gonna be the last one they're gonna go on.
Yeah? Were they frozen?
They're on Cruella.
Okay.
Evan Rachel Wood. There's a flashback scene. Evan Rachel Wood's gonna be in this on an elf.
Really?
Sterling K. Brown too, probably.
What?
Sterling K. Brown did it too.
Yeah.
I like him.
I'm gonna have this stuck in my head too.
I love it.
No, that's the
Stuck in my
thing.
head the whole
It's
time.
got that's done in my head.
It's such an earwig, like it's gonna stay there all day.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
So, you said you want to stay in, the students are saying to do it. Can you freaking blame us?
Have you been in this year?
Oh, no, it was, we went.
I haven't been in 2 years. I've always been the same thing for 3 years. Now they changed the fireworks. It was interesting that one morning when they were testing fireworks outside my bedroom. 6 a.m.
Because kids are
I
around.
knew how much I was like,
I'm what? It's one of the reasons why you drink.
I don't sound like that. Nice car.
It's connected on his phone, so the phone is completely at a weird angle.
What's wrong?
That just happened.
See, now they're gonna think you're drinking.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, there's a stack of them right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep that thing.
There's a dial right here, but I don't know if that's what keeps
No,
it.
that's the find the balance of the phone.
Oh yeah, that's not.
And you keep the point, and it's just not working.
yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Where did Tori go?
I'm gonna leave you.
I don't know.
Okay. In case you need anything.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I'll wait here.
How you doing? Hi.
We should do like a whole photo shoot.
We should. That's what I'm saying. Like, we gotta do it now. A photo shoot with the balloons.
It's been,
Come on.
I've never made it back to
Like everybody else here
You
walk
think
by.
So sorry, I don't mean to keep walking in front.
next year.
Doesn't know where it's going.
Here. Oh, shit. This one.
And I was super bummed because I was going to try and go meet him. I got in.
It looks like the battery's fine.
It's okay.
Whoops.
There you go. How'd you do that?
Good job, good job.
4.5 minutes of people going, what the heck?
Good job.
Sorry.
Fish.
That hand was a little low. I apologize.
You what?
We're doing the signing while the Simpsons.
Are you go? Get online. Hold on.
Is there a handle to hold on to it? That's impressive.
Alright, what are they getting online for?
Simpsons signing.
Yeah, well, that's why it makes sense. This year worked out. I know, I'm a box person. I did my very first one the other week. That was me, yeah.
Wait.
So, yeah, that's me. Yeah, thank you.
Sometimes it's like damning from the for like 20 minutes.
Well, I was, that was, so I usually can't do it tonight. So I have to be there. I didn't really expect something to actually happen after the day. I was like, I have to read it. I had it was just great. It's just great to be among your people.
Yeah, they get it. And the arguments
Right.
no matter how weird they become. And people love passion.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of this. That's my schedule all around this year.
Right.
You're not being recorded. Say maybe a little more off color than normal, but you still be but it's a whole different.
Yeah. No. There was, I came home and while I was there, my boyfriend came home and I had texted him that I was going to do it. He called me and he was like,
I'm out of
yeah. It's not that he just appreciates that I love it, but he doesn't. I wasn't. I mean, I grew up in Maryland, but you know, I got into the world of it's always been some people come back and they love Louisiana. I became a lot of that. So I really am.
I'm tempted, but I don't have anything for them to sign. Wait, Becky. Sorry. They're doing the Simpsons talent signing over there. They're doing the Simpsons.
Why are they craft peppers?
All the.
Oh, over there?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We'll get the other ones.
Okay.
Why not? Well, it was a very good sign.
You might be right in sign down here.
What? Does he know it's today?
And he said he'll be here at like 2:15. Oh, really? Oh, awesome. So I okay. So you come back here and say he'll be here at like
Justine, he's still on his way back here, right?
That's correct.
That hasn't changed.
No, correct. Corey's getting him and walking him back.
You can pull up a or
Pick up. I'm gonna walk around here a little bit and I'll come back again. So nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much. James, did you just drop the hammer? Your dad's same song. He's a hot dog fan.
No. I heard that he was. I heard someone say he was here yesterday. Yeah. Yep, Tony, Tatiana. From the crew. What time you was it?
no, he's on his way back. So that's why, that's why I'm sitting in one place.
Over? Yeah, no, the other one. The one that would be dancing around and nobody would be yeah. The other one is I got you. Yeah, it is.
No, it's like a. Do I click that?
Did it? Oh, you did a thing.
It's a line. If you didn't hear us, actually, wait.
Oh, you
Okay, wait, check that.
That's really cool. Oh, there's water.
I guess. Maybe I did.
There's a
here a little bit.
They have an orange one, an imperial one, they have a black
We're all like
pepper one,
empty.
and a kind of marble one.
I like it. Maybe like a
You're Amanda. Okay, you're his wife. I'm Amanda. I'm Amanda's sister. This is my husband, Alex.
I didn't. It was like
It fell down.
no. Oh, I feel it moving. Wow, my 10.
I know, I didn't mean to the one time.
That looks really good. We saw it at Celebration, and then we saw it again here. And then today, so we were walking around this other bag. It was just like a drawstring one. It broke. And so it's like, so I think I'm getting it at Star Wars. It's not gonna break.
It's bigger than I wanted for parks, but
Yeah, but you end up carrying. Then it's not gonna be like. Oh, that's. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're. Oh, yeah. It's like the dropping point. Yeah. Yeah.
still like my North Face.
That was. I feel like your North Face one is funky.
And the fact that it's a hard back support.
Oh, that's nice.
Not this one.
No, I know. The North Face one.
That's why I like the trail a little bit more. That's why I wear it to work.
That makes sense. Oh.
Like the Vegas day.
It's cool. I gave back to yeah. So I don't want to just be like, here you go. That's cool. That's really cool. This is probably going to keep.
So sweaty.
Oh, you think so? I feel like this would be like
This will absorb a lot more than
like my nylon one I was wearing. That doesn't absorb anything. I'm super
That's right, I don't want my backpack to get sweaty. This one will get sweaty.
I'd rather not be running down my back.
Drawstrings are nice, but it's going to be difficult. Oh, okay. Keep checking.
Oh, the drawstrings are nice. But how are these doubles and it's a double. The double is nice. I like having doubles.
Drawstring, no one gets up if you're wearing it, though.
No one what?
I like the drawstring that no one can get something if you're wearing it. Drawstring goes.
You got a poster? You got posters? Oh, that's awesome. It's Lou show and tell time now. What? Tell us all about
Are
it.
you guys going one?
He said he thinks it's flexible.
Okay.
How you doing?
Hey,
What's going on? Wait, say
What? Where? Sheep? Oh my god!
She can control the sheep.
Yeah.
set up for the shot.
We had a good time.
Yeah, we've had to restart it like 2 times.
That's why I was telling you, dude, Mr. Tokens.
They changed it back.
No. That was always So we have to queue down here.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So you put $100 on it, and then you get Yeah. No, that's a different game. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different game.
Bring it in there, brother. How you doing, man?
From New York, I actually just did my very first video chat.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, great. This is so wonderful.
He doesn't expand out of the box. He starts going add water.
Can I take a picture?
Yeah, bro.
How was the panel?
It was very cool.
No, I'm really excited.
We're going to talk all about panel stuff and Simpsons stuff. And,
I'm gonna have to head out in a little bit because I've got a panel at 1:30.
yeah, so which one are you doing at 1:30?
The Secret Disney Project.
Okay. Good. Well, yeah, come back. Absolutely. Hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes? Louder?
Yeah.
Is that better? Much better? Better? Worse? Becky says crank it up. Becky says crank it up. You crank it up.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes.
Much better?
Yes.
Now you can hear.
Yes.
Now good? What do you eat? Oh, killing me, Smalls. And we're good here? Good, good. And we're good here? Look, we have a live studio audience. I don't have to talk to the door anymore. I need to have like that image on the door so I'm used to talking about it. So welcome back. If you have been watching live throughout the day, first of all, thank you, Corey, the keeper of the box. All of you who've been joining us live. You know that guy. What'd you guys see today? Nothing? Nothing. Still have that thing. Mickey's at Glendale?
Sorry, we got out of
Is that why American Express sent me a thank you card? Because you went to Mickey's at Glendale? Yeah. Why are you smiling? I'm sweating when you say that they did some damage. Did I buy you that? Oh. What happened to Grandma's gift card? I thought we were doing Grandma's gift card. All right, listen. We have a lot of stuff to cover today, so we're gonna do one at a time, right? We're gonna do Simpsons first, and roving reporter on the scene. He's not just there for live dining reviews, Nicholas Mongello and Bart Simpson. So Becky Menken, you may or may not know Becky Menken, had to this morning do 3 of her least favorite things. Hang out with a child, watching cartoons without a cocktail.
Okay. Now
So
I do
give it up for Becky Menken.
I do like cartoons, but you're right. The cocktail would have made it so much better.
So you're saying that you need to drink around my children?
Yes.
Nice. Mouse
They
fan travel.
are- Hey, you are the reason I drink. Just
All right, so
it's all honesty
Nicholas
around here. It's
Peter,
all honesty.
Since you are the big Simpsons fan, tell us about the Simpsons panel because I have no idea what happened.
It was really, really good. They talked about a lot of the stuff that they're gonna do in later episodes of the season. Like one of them is a Thanksgiving type Treehouse of Horror, and they showed us one part of it, which was Stranger Things themed, which was
So cool. It's a
it was
mashup.
so cool. And then they played a clip of every single time the Simpsons made fun of Disney.
That's awesome.
That was the opening. They said it was the elephant in the room, so they were just
Yeah.
going to get it out of the way, and they played a montage of all of the clips.
So it was Epcot, right?
They did
Monorail?
all of
they
that.
didn't do.
Yeah, no, they didn't do that. They didn't do the one where they made fun of California Adventure when it first opened.
So I think when they referenced it, maybe not made fun of it.
Oh no, like the Mary Poppins one. Remember the Mary Poppins
Yeah.
one? That was our favorite.
Yeah, that one's so good.
There was a ton of them.
I don't
That's
think
great.
I saw that one.
It was awesome.
Okay, so they opened up by showing up all the clips, and then what?
They had some questions. The voice of Lisa was the moderator that they were asking, like, how did they get started, like, what they think now that they're owned by Disney. And then they let fans come up and ask questions.
Really?
So me, being
You.
cool, went up there and was like, I want to ask a question.
Did you get to do one?
Went up there and the lady was looking at her phone, like, didn't know if she was, and then she was like, all right, these are going to be the last 2, and I was the last one.
All right, so this
ask
was
a
your
question.
moment to shine.
This was my moment to shine.
What was your question
I
for the
thought my
Simpsons
question
panel?
was going to be asked before.
Yeah.
I asked, since you guys were bought by Disney, what's going to happen to the Springfield and Universal Studios?
It was awesome.
That's my boy right there.
And they were like, I don't know. And I'm officially allowed to say I stumped Matt Groening.
And he said it out loud. He said it out loud. It was a great
And
question.
for every single person, they were giving a signed poster. but some people got a signed poster by Matt Groening and the voice of Bart. So, I'm gonna come over here. They were
Always a
giving
showman.
Some people were
wonder
getting
where he
like
got that from.
Olaf and some random Disney characters, but some people were getting it signed by the actual characters. And then, at the last one, I got this giant smoking Bart.
Ooh. See? He was
signed
with
by
Becky,
Matt
I'm just
Groening
saying.
and
Oh, so wait a
Nancy.
minute. So wait a minute. So I thought you meant like it was a poster that
No, he
like
drew
they
it.
drew it.
No, he drew it.
I need you to step away for a second. eBay today on eBay.
Oh. He drew one for every person that asked a question.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's funny because he looks a lot like you, so it's a pretty remarkable resemblance. Yeah, put this gently back in this.
We need to save this. But the Simpsons panel was a lot of fun.
So a couple of things that I learned, because I'm a Simpsons fan. I'm not an uber Simpsons fan, but what was neat is that I kind of went in there going, Simpsons with Disney? You know, really? And kind of not sure how it fits. But I got to tell you, after that panel, it fits, because he was talking about how Disney, Walt Disney, and Disney Animation inspired him to do the things he did. And he was telling lots of stories, like the couch gag comes from, at the beginning, it was on the old Mickey Mouse
beginning of
Club.
the Mickey Mouse Club.
When Donald bangs the drum and it changes every single time, he based the couch gag on that. So
on something he saw from Disney.
yes, it was the Mickey Mouse Club. You heard of that? It's a neat thing where people all get together and talk about their love of Disney. FYI.
You were what, 45 when that show debuted?
They started off by introducing the voice of Lisa, saying our newest Disney princess.
And she came out in a tiara.
Yeah.
She came out in a beautiful sparkly tiara, so that was pretty awesome. The other story that they told about Disney was that Futurama, right?
Yeah, Futurama.
Which he is involved with as well,
Too.
is kind of started because of an old 1937
Donald Duck cartoon.
and it was called Modern Inventions, where Donald is somewhat bothered by an annoying robot. And he has a dime, he's going up to a machine and he's got a dime on a string and he pulls it back, right? So it's a little dark, but for Futurama, the pilot begins with Bender. It's a little dark, so please forgive me. Don't kill the messenger.
Children, close your
Keep it
ears.
G-rated,
It
please.
is G-rated. It's just a little dark and twisty, just like me. Where Bender's going to commit suicide, so he goes to the suicide machine because he's a robot, and he backs out. So he uses the quarter to go into the machine, and he pulls it back out. So that's the pilot of Futurama. So he based a lot of the things he's done on
Disney cartoons.
Yeah.
So was there any sort of new, like, breaking information, or is it really just about The Simpsons on Disney Plus?
There was nothing really breaking.
We were breaking. It was more about just hearing the cast talk about their experiences with Disney and being part of the family now. And
I can't,
all this stuff.
Yeah, I can say that. I mean, they did definitely say, "Hey, you know, who knew that we would end up here?" But when they were asked about, is there any plans for rides or attractions in the parks before you asked your question, he had said, "Well, you know, there's other Disney parks in other countries," which I found very leading and very interesting. So it was a definite wink, wink, elbow, elbow. So I have no idea really what that meant because they're comedians, so who knew? But,
Right. But could you have a Simpsons ride in Universal and a Simpsons ride in Shanghai? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
But the funnest part was definitely when they did the clip, and obviously they were talking about the Treehouse of Thanksgiving. Trying to kind of wrapped around how things are a little polarized right now and how families on Thanksgiving have to deal with opposite sides of thoughts. So that's where this whole thing came from. But when it turned into not Stranger Things, but Danger Things, the crowd went crazy over that. And the 1980s, so it became, you know, the video games that some of us do remember, including you, from the 1980s. The wonderful graphics that we used to have way back when. turned into they jump from the treehouse and in parachute pants. So their pants turned into parachutes. I mean, there's a lot of 80s retro jokes in there, which were absolutely fabulous. New Coke, yeah. Lots of Shining references in there. The Swatch watch, which I think you had like a collection, didn't you?
I still have a collection of Swatch watches. All right, so nothing. So there was nothing really super breaking other than just talking about the future and the relationship.
But I think the biggest thing was that just kind of welcoming the family and really cementing the fact that Disney was a huge part of why he does what he does.
Creation.
So it makes sense now to me.
So I'll tell you, one place where there was a lot of updates and coming to what's new was
Disney
the Walt Disney Studios.
He's going to rub it in now is what's going to happen.
No, I'm not going to rub it in. I'm going to share. And I would love some help from somebody else who was there. Jeremiah Good, come on down. Okay, you can move down. Move down. Move down. I'm done with you. It's Jeremiah Good from laughingplace.com.
I know you.
No, you gotta. So listen, obviously Jeremiah doesn't do a podcast. You gotta turn the microphone on.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
It is on. Come put it closer to your mouth.
There it is.
Oh, there we
Hey,
go.
now you give it.
There you go. Let me help you guys out here. There we go.
All
Just
right.
right there. Just
Yep.
All right, so there was a ton in this 2.5-hour presentation.
Is that only 2.5 hours?
It was only 2.5 hours. It's supposed to be 2. I tried to, as diligently as I could, keep people who were watching, who were following along at home. There was no phones allowed for anybody, but we were allowed to at least take notes, live tweet from there. So I was trying to update on the WJ Burrito Box People group page. Let's sort of take things.
You have a finger in the back.
I did a great job. Thank you. You're only saying that because I haven't seen the credit card bill yet, aren't you? So you're being exceptionally nice to me. So let's sort of go through. Look, it's Prospector Pete.
He's easily distracted.
Yes, shiny object or Prospector Pete.
All right, so let's go through
Tweet by tweet.
tweet by tweet.
No,
Well, let's go through property by
yours,
property.
not mine.
So the first up was Star Wars. They led off with Star Wars, and Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams hit the stage along with the entire cast of the current Star Wars films.
Well, you're skipping past the part where JJ was talking about how Carrie Fisher, he's shared a story about Carrie Fisher that she did her last book, wrote to JJ, thanks for dealing with me twice, but JJ said that he has only ever worked with her once, so Carrie Fisher kind of predicted that he was going to take over episode 9 in her book, and it was a touching moment talking about Carrie, and the audience was definitely into it.
Yeah, there was a lot of love for Carrie Fisher. I mean, as people were coming out, there was a lot of cheers, obviously, but especially when Carrie Fisher's name was mentioned and she showed up on screen. And I think that was, you felt it was touching. I was like, wow, that was kind of like weird and witch-like that she predicted the future with her coming on. But yeah, so then the entire cast of the upcoming Rise of Skywalker film took the stage. And by the way, continue to correct me as I make mistakes along the way.
That's what I'm here for. Since your wife is in the back, I'll play my part.
And one thing that we did get to see was some of the first imagery, including the first poster for Rise of Skywalker.
Can I touch your poster? Is that okay?
Yes, you can.
That's really nice.
So they did show some. So did they show us the clip?
Yeah, they showed us. They showed us the poster.
Right.
They started at Kylo and Rey down at the bottom, and then kind of panned up to the Palpatine-ish. Is that confirmed?
I believe we can say that it's Palpatine. That's not that big of a spoiler.
Palpatine of some sort.
I think the laugh gave it away the first clip.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because at one point I was like, I was convinced that the Star Wars saga was not the Luke Skywalker story. I was like, oh, it's the Kenobi story. It's gonna be the story of the Kenobis, but it's Syndrome.
Wait, Syndrome's in it?
Right there.
What did I miss that in the trailer?
But it's really the sort of
family.
it's the Palpatine saga. Is really what it is.
Well,
I'm going to put this back in here because my son
I
wants
think this may be a spoiler for people who don't read the books, but Palpatine actually is the reason that Anakin was born. In one of the more recent books, Palpatine messed with the midichlorians and he created Anakin. So technically, yes, it's coming full circle.
Palpatine is the father.
Yes, he's the father of the Force. Sorry, that's going really deep into the nerdom.
Yeah, Jeremiah doesn't get out a lot, by the way.
I live in Florida. Nobody goes outside.
Certainly not in the summer.
Do we want to talk about the teaser?
I think we have to talk about the teaser. No, go ahead. You're clearly the bigger Star Wars nerd fan than I am.
Yes, thank you for that. I feel privileged. The teaser, after everybody's out, they even brought out the droids, so the entire cast, they go, okay, let's show you something. And they started, it was a little strange because the footage started with episode 4. The kind of prequels are ignored, but it did highlights of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then for 9, it went so fast. They show Rey, they show Kylo, and then they show them fighting on what I'm assuming is a Star Destroyer that's partially submerged in the water. And then at the very end, they cut to a hooded figure that
may or may not be.
We believe, everybody believes it's Rey in her Sithness. She has the hood on, and she's holding a red lightsaber, and then she kind of does a wrist flick, and it turns into a dual saber, which just the audience went insane for. Yeah, we lost it. But that was it, and it just cut. We're like, wait for December.
Did they drop that clip already on?
No, I actually don't think it's going to be out because it was kind of a highlight of everything, so it's not a trailer.
So not an official trailer.
Yeah, nothing came out. I know they put the poster online, but nothing else.
That sounds extraordinarily cool.
It was. The dual saber pop. Like, we all kind of sat there and went, did she just steal Darth Maul's saber?
That's what I'm...
But it didn't sort of just come out the other side.
Yeah,
Literally,
was,
like there's a physical part that flipped out.
There were lightsabers like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
okay.
Sith Rey could be a thing.
Wow.
Hashtag
no,
Sith
say
Rey.
it isn't true. Say it isn't true.
No, say it is true because you're going to be able to buy that lightsaber soon enough in Galaxy's Edge.
Good point.
Sure. Make your own.
Oh, great. Got to go back. I need a new $200 lightsaber. Awesome.
Super flip saber.
$400 lightsaber.
Because the flip.
So where does Rise of Skywalker, on a scale of 1 to 10, where does it sit in your level of excitement, 10 being highest?
Considering the 30 seconds of new footage we saw, it's a 10. It's like just the stuff that they showed was really neat, but as soon as the Sith Rey came out and did the lightsaber, that was just, I'm ready for it.
So you said the trailer is online now?
No.
It is not?
The poster is online,
Okay.
but I haven't seen anything for the trailer or teaser that they showed us.
So Peanut Gallery, where does Rise of Skywalker fit in your excitement level of all the films that are coming up? You
I see a 10 and a 1.
High. Like, is it turned up to 11? Because I'll tell you, I initially wasn't excited for it based on my feelings of the films that had come before. My Star Wars interest had waned quite a bit. But between this and Mandalorian, it has been turned up.
Mandalorian was beautiful yesterday. Let's not talk about that. We'll be here all day.
Yeah, but I mean, because and I think even this trailer too, the only word I can use is grittiness. There's a grittiness about this for me that makes it feel like the original trilogy again. And I think, and I attribute that to the wisdom and vision of J.J. Abrams.
Yes.
Like putting the right story in the right hands of the right person.
Yeah, I think J.J. I mean, I'm not going to say that the last film wasn't great. I enjoyed it. It's still a good movie to me. But J.J. gets Star Wars. I mean, he gets Star Trek, but he gets Star Wars better.
There'll be lots of lens flares,
yes.
I'm sure. So, and it's funny because J.J. Abrams is part of the trinity of Lou Mangello man crushes, all of whom are here this weekend. Alan Tudyk, if you'd like to come by, I'd love to give you a hug. J.J. Abrams, and nice segue, Mangello, Kevin Feige.
Oh, of course.
who
yeah.
just happened. Tom Holland. Tom Holland.
You
He.
have a man crush.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Hall
we
pass.
have like an
Crush
hour and a
weekend.
half still before
I'm
we're there.
giving myself a hall pass for Tom Holland, by the way. Just
Sorry, Deanna.
FYI. I have many hall
Sure, she'd
passes.
push him out of the way, though.
Yeah, we'll get
Oh
to.
no! Oh no! Long story there.
We'll get to Selma Hayek and.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was wondering about that. It was all caps, and I think it was the first
Down
thing you
boy, down boy.
even you spelled it right too. I was kind of amazed.
Well, I'm still using her maiden name before she changes it to Mangello. Oh, and she's
Yes,
fine.
dead
She-
quiet in the entire
Okay,
arena.
so
He leans
can I
forward.
ask
It's
you
like, I have a
something?
stage pass for her.
So
Go
does
ahead.
it sound like this is going to be much darker? Is it going to kind of go down that rabbit hole? Because I mean, this whole Rey being Sith is
It looked, I mean, it was literally 30 seconds. But I would guess it's going to definitely explore more of where she's going with the Kylo storyline. You know, this started last time and the ties. But we're all speculating. There was nothing to give us anything other than, oh my God, Rey has a double lightsaber.
And I think we got hints of the fact that she was sort of teetering on that with the sort of the connection she has with Kylo.
Right. What's up
so-
with those two? That's the thing.
All right, so listen, we're moving on from Star Wars to Marvel Studios, and as if I timed it appropriately, Sean Gerber from Marvel Studios News just walked in. Nick, give him your microphone. You're done. You're out.
Thanks for playing, Nick.
Are we all moving down the? Oh, he's got one of those too.
You put that down, you might not get
I
it
know.
back.
I had to
I was
put
gonna
mine
say,
down. I'm like, I
Jimmy, just
trust
you know,
you.
it's just you might want to babysit that
Jimmy,
for a
sit
while.
your-
Let me tell people that I'm here to come watch.
So Sean Gerber was on a recent episode where we talked all of what did we talk about? I don't remember.
It was Comic-Con. It was Marvel Studios and Hall H.
Oh,
Put
that's
it
right,
up.
Holly. Oh yeah.
Right up.
Yeah, it was Comic-Con, Marvel Studios, and Hall H. So that wonderful day that we got so many announcements for everything with Phase 4.
So just very quickly, how does this compare with Comic-Con?
I like hearing these questions to other people because I know how I answer it.
Okay, so in terms of the amount of Marvel news, obviously we got more at Comic-Con than we got here because it's a 90-minute panel dedicated entirely to Marvel Studios, whereas this was a 2-hour panel of which Marvel Studios was only a small part of it. Even when you add in the Disney Plus stuff, the total Marvel Studios time. I will say getting into Hall D23 is much easier than getting into Hall H.
I
Tell that
don't
to the
mind
people who
getting a
didn't
wristband the night before as opposed to not getting here at 4 o'clock in the morning and trying to hope for it.
Yeah, I don't know. As somebody who got into both, Hall H was way tougher, and I was. In
But you
line for
camped
much
out for 28 hours or something like that, right?
something like that.
Yeah,
it
I was about
around there.
20. I was almost 30 for mine for
Yeah.
Hall H, yeah.
It was a long time.
Okay, bring lots of snacks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so let's sort of go through some of the Marvel stuff because there's a lot happening. The first person that joins Kevin on stage, and guys, obviously correct me if my timing is off here, was Ryan Coogler from Black Panther and Black Panther 2.
Correct.
Electric Boogaloo? Is that the name of it?
Oh. Kevin leaked the title.
Yeah.
We did not get any additional footage. We did not get a name. They just sort of left it up as Black Panther 2.
Didn't they give us the date?
All we got
Yeah,
was
May 6th. Yeah, May 6th, 2022.
Correct.
Which was a little bit, I think, people were sort of waiting, but all right, come on, let's just give them a little something. But
It felt a little anticlimactic with
Yeah.
all the teasers. Like, should we say a title? Should we say a villain? It's like, well, we know that it's going to come out in 2022, and there were 3 guesses as to what release date that would be. So, I mean, I'm still happy that we're getting another Black Panther movie, obviously, but I would have loved if we got at least one little piece besides the release date today.
Tease was killing us. It's like, oh, and the date. Should we give him the name?
Right.
The name? No.
Yeah. You want that? No, you can't have that either.
but
What
it's
about-
okay because they made up for it in spades with the next part of the presentation where the Eternals logo comes up. People start to lose their mind. The cast in a story that's going to span thousands of years comes on stage. I have 2 words for you. Selma Hayek.
What about
So
Angelina
that's where that
Jolie?
came into play.
So,
I should have
yes.
known when you got out of your chair.
Yes, I'm just saying it for emphasis. I'm a huge Eternals fan, so I'm happy to
Sure.
see her.
Yes, you,
As
you own-
everyone is.
Right.
How many of those comics do you own?
don't worry. Listen, that's why I brought you guys up here, because you guys are a little bit more comic nerdy than I am. For the uninitiated, sort of give us the don't give us the Marvel Studios news version. Give us the.
It's just us here.
The Eternals are basically these godlike characters, most similar to Asgardians in what you've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far, if you're not familiar with the comic books. But they were created by these giant Celestials, and if you want an idea of the scale and the size of the Celestials, nowhere in Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014, it's the severed head of a Celestial. So this massive space is just the head of one of those things. They came to Earth a long time ago, and they created a couple different races, but the Eternals is the one that they're focusing on in this movie.
And it's funny because I noticed of my posts, I talk about the actors, and they posted images of the actors up in costume. I seem to only have mentioned Selma Hayek in both of those. But who are some of the others?
Well, the most interesting revelation to me is Gemma Chan coming back as Circe. She just played Minerva in Captain Marvel this year, but she was covered in blue makeup, so it's not like anybody's going to be confused and say, hey, wasn't that so-and-so from Captain Marvel? I mean, Gemma Chan is unrecognizable as Minerva in that film, but she is perfect for Circe. I even said at one point that it's a shame that Gemma Chan played Minerva before they did Eternals because she's so perfect for Circe. Like, she is spot on.
So who is Circe and what makes Gemma Chan?
So Circe is basically the socialite of the Eternals. Now, her powers are she can turn anything into basically anything else. She's famous for turning important people into pigs. So,
I like her already.
And so like when Neil Gaiman reimagined the Eternals and brought it into a modern context, like her job was basically to be an event planner. So she's all about like the party. She's super fun. She's charismatic, but she actually has a fairly decent sized history as actually being an Avenger in Marvel Comics, from like the late '80s through into the early '90s.
So where does Eternals sit for you as obviously a Marvel fan?
Eternals for me was never a big thing. For some reason, I always kind of aimed more towards the Earth characters, Spider-Man, and we kind of share that as one of our loves. Eternals, for me, it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's such out of the realm of normal comic book fans that it's going to blow us away, and it'll become a favorite of everybody's.
So anybody else in the presentation, thoughts on Eternals, or just as Marvel fans, thoughts on Eternals? Jimmy Styles?
I'm looking forward to it.
So where does Eternals sit in your interest level for movies that are coming? Like on a 1 to 10, is it lower because you're under the characters, or is it still high because you trust after things like Guardians of the Galaxy?
I think it's up there because it's a new story that I haven't heard before. Like, I'm not super familiar with the Eternals, kind of like we said yesterday with Guardians. So it's up there just from sheer interest to see what these characters are all about.
Yeah, and Jimmy Styles from the Dopey Dudes, by the way. Dopeydudes.org, dopeydudes.com, dopeydudes.com. Anybody else? Nicholas Peter Mangello, what do you know? How much do you know about the Eternals, and how excited are you?
I barely know anything, but I'm very excited after what they've done with Koreans and all these unknown properties that they're going to introduce.
So after Eternals, I think we moved on to Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Was it Black Widow?
Was
now
it
you
into Black Widow? Wasn't there something in between Eternals and Black Widow?
Selma Hayek. I'm sorry.
I don't think so. I think
Selma Hayek or Black Widow?
Oh, Selma Hayek.
See?
It's not even it.
Oh, that's right. Because the Black Widow, there was the teaser of the cast that's filming in London.
Right.
And they're flying in a helicopter, and they say, oh, can't we just land in Anaheim? And then they go, it's fake. We're in London. Why are we doing this?
Right, so we're waiting for them to come out on stage, and people lose their mind. They're like, nah, and then they show that they're in front of a green screen somewhere else. But we did get footage. Now, how does that differ from what you saw in Hall?
Was it about 30 seconds difference?
About, yeah. The fight with Yelena Belova was the same, but the sizzle reel definitely had some new things added to it. So we didn't get footage of David Harbour. At Comic-Con, there was no footage of David Harbour in the actual Red Guardian suit. That was present in this footage. We didn't see Rachel Weisz at all, unless she's Taskmaster in the Comic-Con footage, but we actually saw her not in a Taskmaster costume. presumably as Melina, the name that they've given for her character so far officially. We saw her a little bit in this footage, and we also got to see that white suit that Natasha's been wearing, that she was wearing in the little bit in the, we're not really flying the Anaheim bit, but then she was actually wearing that in an action sequence as well. So it seemed, so there were little pieces, not enough to really, didn't really get a better sense of the story overall, but maybe a little bit more of the relationships though, because we didn't know, based on Comic-Con, and what kind of relationship Natasha might have had with Alexei, David Harbour's character, the Red Guardian, but it seems like all of these characters are actually very close to each other, which means if Rachel Weisz is Taskmaster, things are going to get emotional and punchy.
So first of all, there's a couple of things. So is Red Guardian sort of the commie version of Captain America?
He is the communist version of Captain America. He is the Soviet. He is the Soviets' answer to Captain America.
And so and I remember I think you guys
this movie takes place way after the fall of the Soviet Union, so that part of it may not apply anymore.
Right. So we finally learned a little bit about what I was. First of all, I was waiting to see if there was some sort of a Hawkeye, appearance somewhere. But it takes place in Budapest, and the fight sequence. And I've heard you talk about this on your show. The fight sequence inside that very tiny kitchen was insane.
It's great.
It was really well choreographed.
Explain a little bit for those of us who went there.
So it's super intense, super visceral. So it starts out with Natasha going into this apartment, and you see Yelena, who's played by Florence Pugh, and they just have their guns drawn on each other, and then they try to disarm each other and end up trading guns, and then the fist fight actually starts, and you see them just trading punches, and then all of a sudden Natasha flips Yelena onto the counter and tries to strangle her with like a dish rag or something, and then Yelena reaches back and just smashes a plate, smashes a dinner plate right over Natasha's head. And the fight spills out in the living room, and then it basically comes to a stalemate when they're choking each other with the curtains. Like, it's just, there's so much, it's so intense, so visceral, and very well choreographed and very well shot.
And they're both the relationship is that they're both graduates of the Red Room, basically?
Yeah, I mean, they referred to each other as sisters in that footage. They're not actually sisters, at least not in the books, but, I mean, sisters maybe not through bond, not necessarily through blood.
For me, when I first saw it at Comic-Con, I likened it to the Daredevil fights, where it's the close quarters, and it's so well choreographed.
The hallway fight in Daredevil,
And it's just with the way the fight starts, it's almost their mirror images of each other because they're doing the same moves, and it's stunning how well they do it.
Was it a one-shot? Or was
No.
There's that would have really been impressive.
Yeah, no, it's not a one shot, but it's also not overly reliant on quick cutting to cheat. So it stands up.
So, and I think that was the last part of the Marvel.
That was it. Yeah, when Kevin Feige introduced the footage, he said, "I'll leave you with this," and he really did.
So what of the new Marvel projects that are coming out, just as a fan, are you most looking forward to seeing?
Based on what was announced this weekend, or all of it?
You can just add all four, Phase 4 and Phase 5.
I'll focus
on. There's no Phase 5.
Yes, that's actually true, because the Disney Plus series were added to the Phase 4 timeline that they were announced yesterday. There was no Phase 5 on the graphics. So I'll focus more on what got announced this weekend. I mean, it's kind of a tough, it's a close call between Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk. I really love Kamala Khan. I think that character is just absolutely unbelievable. One of the best comic book characters that I think has been created within my lifetime. She is phenomenal, but also She-Hulk. I mean, I've been a Hulk fan since day one, as we talked about on your show, and that includes Bruce Banner's cousin, Jennifer Walters, and so having her in there, and the way that they teased it, having this camera pan around the statue of Lady Justice, which means we're going to get the attorney, Jennifer Walters.
Yeah. I'm really hoping it's the late 90s comic version where it's much more breaking the fourth wall, because they need something. They need a Daredevil type character, and She-Hulk could do that so easily.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to a legal drama starring She-Hulk. So,
well, when I first saw the Lady Justice, I'm like, they can't be rebooting Daredevil already. Yeah. Like, it's way too so. But we were talking yesterday. So how does She-Hulk gets her powers because of a blood transfusion?
That's correct. Yeah, there was I can't remember what the specific thing was. There was an accident or something.
I believe it was a car accident in one of the origins.
And so, obviously short on time, Jennifer, the only option was, everybody knows that getting a blood transfusion from Bruce Banner is risky, but there was no choice. Like, it had to happen right away, and of course the situation happened where she, as a result of that blood transfusion with Banner's gamma irradiated blood, she transforms into the She-Hulk, but she is permanently She-Hulk. She is always She-Hulk. She's not as large as the Bruce Banner Hulk. It's not that situation. She's just very, very buff woman, very powerful woman. So you don't have to have a CG person. You can just hire an actress with that build, and she can play She-Hulk, and it'd be green makeup like we see with Zoe Saldana with Gamora. But yeah, she looks like that all the time. There's no back and forth, and there's never a need to create a Professor She-Hulk. She's just like that from the start.
Yeah, we could probably start going through actresses and narrow down a list because she is.
Oh, you know who would be good for that role?
Selma Hayek. No, can I just say, I love all the girl power. I'm going to put that out there. I love the fact that there's so many great stories that they're just not supporting some other character. They are front and center, and the women are rocking it.
What movie that we just saw was there a call out to the strong women?
Avengers.
No, during the panel at one point there was a kind of a call out, and I can't remember what movie it was because we sat through 15 movies.
Michelle Pfeiffer called it out during the panel for Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
Yeah, which that leads us right into we're Pixar next.
No, Disney live action is next.
No, then look at that.
Disney live action is next. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, before we move on, because the one thing I wanted to quickly talk about was one of the characters that was mentioned this weekend is one that I think a lot of people are not familiar with, which is Moon Knight.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, look at the smile. You're like a 7-year-old when you hear
Moon Knight is awesome. So Moon Knight is this guy named Mark Spector. He is killed. He's a mercenary. He's not a good dude. He dies in a fight, but where he's fighting, it's in Egypt. So there's this Egyptian moon god that brings him back to life, and the moon god basically puts him in charge of being the protector of travelers at night. So he's out there avenging people who attack those who should be traveling safely at night. So somebody who is mugging people or whatever. I would definitely recommend reading the Warren Ellis run from a few years ago. It's just 6 issues of Moon Knight. Gives you pretty much everything you need to know about the character. Obviously, it won't be quite as dark or mature rated as that one was. This is Disney Plus, it's not Netflix or Hulu, so they're not going to go.
PG-13.
Yeah, I mean, I guess TV 14 or something like that. Whatever the rating system would be on Disney Plus. So it is a little bit darker. It is a little more twisted, but obviously it'll be scrubbed a little bit for Disney Plus. But Moon Knight's a really fun character. People have been wanting that for a long time. Back when people thought the Netflix stuff was going to go on forever, they thought, well, the next phase after these Defenders would be Blade and Moon Knight, and now we have them, but we actually have them in the MCU proper with Marvel Studios.
All right, so just to quickly sort of round out all the Marvel stuff, of all the Marvel stuff that you've heard that's mentioned, that's coming.
I'm not sure myself, but
sounds like you can get a print of something somewhere.
Somebody give her
Lou,
a mic.
Give her a mic. Don't give her a microphone.
What's either the one that you're most excited for, the most unique, like the one if you could just turn on tomorrow, what would it be?
WandaVision.
Really?
WandaVision.
Because you have no idea what it's going to be, right?
Amazing looking.
WandaVision, this idea of saying that the show is half sitcom, half MCU epic, and showing us clips of the old Dick Van Dyke Show, and then cutting the dialogue and slowing it down to create this ominous thing of this is this cheery sitcom, and then there's something wrong with us, and like it's going to be so weird, so funny. I'm also a super huge fan of Catherine Hahn, who got announced as playing the nosy neighbor in that. She's brilliant and absolutely hilarious, so I can't wait to see her.
Coming back as a character that disappeared from the MCU.
Kat Dennings is back as Darcy Lewis. Also Randall Park, who I thought is super underrated and underutilized even a bit in Ant-Man and the Wasp as Agent Jimmy Woo. So good, and so I am so happy that he's back in that series. But WandaVision is going to be straight up weird, and I am absolutely here for every single second of it.
It leads right into Thor: Love and Rockets.
WandaVision actually goes to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because Wanda's going to go from her series with WandaVision. Spiky
I thought you were going to say something.
I didn't do it. No, there's no direct storyline they're going there, but also I do feel like it's going to be, the WandaVision show will be influenced by Tom King's run from a few years ago on Vision, which was amazing. That's one of the all-time greatest Marvel comic book runs ever written. I don't care that it's recent. Like it's up there with the all-time classics. And he actually tweeted yesterday about people checking out his run. He said, "Oh, for no particular reason." So it's pretty clear that that's also going to be one of the major influences on this show.
that's the one that scared me the most in a way. When I didn't get to see the clip. So for those of us who haven't seen it, having people explain it to you, my brain is all over the place. I'm seeing
it's very difficult to understand.
I was trying to talk to people last night, and they're like, "What do you mean it's a sitcom and a Marvel epic
It's
and
part
a
Dick Van
nosy
Dyke.
neighbor?"
See, I'm seeing like Bewitched when you just said the nosy neighbor.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's not going to make it's not going to make an ounce of sense until you actually see it.
It will it then?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it will. It will. But
it's intriguing.
These are really fun. These are really fun characters, and obviously with Vision, something's going to be up with this guy because when he comes back to life, however that is, he's missing the Mind Stone in his forehead. So Vision's going to be very different.
So you don't think this is not a time travel type of thing? You don't think?
No. I think this is post. I don't know either. Vision is only alive inside her own mind, or perhaps maybe Shuri saved her work and resurrected Vision.
Downloaded,
and it could be a combination where it's Wanda teaming up with Shuri because Wanda's powers came from the Mind Stone. So if they need to synthesize a Mind Stone, that would come from Vision. And so if Wanda's bringing Vision back to life, that would definitely be a WandaVision.
And it shows the importance of backing up your work to the cloud somewhere because
Absolutely.
you never know what might happen. You want what? You never need to know when you need to back up your super robot.
How many times have we said that? Listen.
It's happened to me. Listen, once it happens to you, you'll make sure it never happens again. So, well, cool. Thank you for sharing some of your thoughts on the Marvel stuff. Tell everybody where they can find you, other than right here, right now.
Other than right here, right now, you can find me on the Marvel Studios News Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and it's at Marvel Newscast on Twitter.
Like the nicest nerd in the whole wide world, Sean Garber. You want to stay in chat?
Yeah, I'll finish out though. I don't want to run off to anything. This is a comfortable
I'm sorry.
seat.
No. You seem to have copious notes. Were you there as well? Fill in the empty chair. Why not? The more the merrier.
So was there more besides Selma Hayek? Because that's all I kind of picked
Well,
up
that's
the
why I
whole thing.
wanted you guys to come here because I was very distracted.
My shoes are wet. I was in front of them. There's a drool puddle.
Thank you for clarifying.
It was a long panel. I really had to go to the bathroom.
It was very long. Lisa Donato Glassner from thecastlerun.org.com, whatever. Obviously nobody here is a podcaster. Nobody knows.
I'm a podcaster. I just don't use mics.
Proper. How do you podcast then?
Earbuds.
Well, you're
The
so
microphones
high-tech.
work perfect.
So we're going to move from super nerdy to super fun, and we're going to go from Marvel Studios news information over to the live action from Walt Disney Studios. Who else and where else would you kick off live action than with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
On a boat.
It was a highlight.
boat.
Yeah. On a jungle
on a boat.
cruise boat.
So he literally comes, like, not on stage, in front of the stage in this ginormous, like, bigger than life-size jungle cruise boat.
And he's on the side of it, just holding on, and he gets off, runs down the aisle, slapping everybody high five, and we're in the corner going, Dwayne, we're over here.
I bet the whole place went crazy.
Oh,
Where was it
absolutely.
like on their feet,
Yeah.
screaming?
So, what I dig about The Rock, other than we obviously work out at the same gym, is he genuinely, don't laugh at me, he genuinely seems to really have fun doing what he's doing when he does these things.
And I think he genuinely loves Disney. Like,
Yeah.
he's into
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think he loves anything that he gets to play in. Like, Jumanji is him making fun of himself. I know it's not Disney, but it's
As is
he
Maui.
loved that.
Maui.
And yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think Jungle Cruise is just the next step in him taking
He's a big
over
kid.
the world.
He's a
Oh, yeah.
very,
He's a big
very
kid.
large kid.
A very, very large.
With a
very
great
large.
sense of humor.
Yeah.
I want to picture you next to him sometime.
Please, that would be incredibly awesome. With a stepladder.
Did I ask The Rock to come to our house for dinner? We're not really at the... Oh, do you want to make sure I'm not home? You want to make sure I'm away during that dinner? Which is fine, I get it.
Selma Hayek.
Oh, Selma Hayek, yeah.
I'll go to Selma's house for dinner. The Rock can come over our house.
Okay, so we're working on a
This is
marital problem here.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of awkward, but you know.
It's not awkward. We're both smiling about it, so I think it's a win-win for everybody
awkward.
involved. So The Rock comes in.
Blue Vision.
Nobody wants to see that. The Rock literally rolls in on his gigantic boat, and that's where we get the first trailer.
Teaser.
They were both
They said
fake.
neither were the trailers.
They were both fake trailers.
But real footage.
I guess so. I don't really understand how they had it from both angles, like when they were at the door.
So
But, yeah.
I thought,
I thought it was a trailer when we
I
first
thought
saw it.
the presentation of this part of the thing was awesome.
Yeah, it was
because
a
The Rock
highlight.
comes out and they have a teaser trailer where The Rock is the focus. He is the hero, and we kept on hearing there's that Indiana Jones vibe. I love that they called out Romancing the Stone.
Yes, I know.
Like,
When he said that, I was like, that's The Rock at his purest. He's
Yeah.
calling out movies that most people have probably never seen.
Yeah, so like I loved Romancing the Stone when I was a kid because it was sort of early Indiana Jones with Danny DeVito in it, and the film sort of Danny DeVito is in Romancing. Somebody get her a
Hello?
Somebody
Oh,
get
that's
her-
all right. I'll take it. I'll take the bullet. I will shield you from that bullet. Move on.
Danny
Little
DeVito was
dude.
in.
I know he was in it. I'm just kind of laughing at why you chose that film to be great. Because
know,
Danny
it's-
DeVito.
My point. I'm with you.
Because
you,
it
you
was-
love the penguin. That's it. You want
I
to
did.
be
Well, no, I
He
mean,
was awesome.
but it had that sort of, and I love that the period piece of when and where the Jungle Cruise movie takes place. So we see this couple of minute teaser trailer, and it is very Rock centric. He is the hero. He's saving the damsel in distress, and then they sort of flip the switch on us.
Well, but before
So
that,
Emily Blunt comes out. First of all, their chemistry, like I am so much more eager to see this movie, if only like after seeing the chemistry between the two of them, like in real life, because
It seems odd. It seems like an odd pairing.
But I know, right? But they like, she's wonderful.
Yes.
Like she's wonderful on stage, and the two of them just had this amazing chemistry. Like now I can't wait to see them in the movie together.
yeah, they're both smart Alex, and they're going at each other. But before we got into the second trailer, the beginning of the Rock's teaser, where he is literally a Jungle Cruise skipper. Like it's a setup where he's going down the river. He has a tourist group. He pulls a plug and he goes, "Ladies and
Backside of
gentlemen,
water.
the eighth wonder of the world, the backside of water," and a little fountain's going over, and everybody looks at him like, "Really?"
Well, and they said, and not to sort of jump ahead, but they did say, and he even said, that they're very aware and respectful of the fact that this is a Walt Disney project. It's something that Walt put his heart into, and that we as fans have a reverence and a respect for, and the film is very conscious of that.
And he
Not in a
referred to
mocking
Walt
kind
as
of
the
way.
original skipper.
Yeah.
So
I think this is a more the approach Pirates of the Caribbean style than the old Country Bear Jamboree or Haunted Mansion.
Did you see those movies?
Yes, I did. I could tell you all about them actually. But it's them having fun with it, but at the same time keeping the feel of it. I know somebody who's seen some footage of it, and what we saw so both footages,
Both footies.
A gaggle of
kind
footage.
of end with both Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson looking at something and being in awe of it. And I think I know who that is or what
Selma Hayek?
character, maybe. It may be somebody that's kind of special to Jungle Cruise and maybe other things. But I think in the Emily Blunt version, we saw more of the mystical part because there's an arrowhead that controls destiny. So I think what we saw was definitely hey, we're going to sell it by being funny, but when it gets into it, it's going to have a deep story and probably be a 10 pole for 10 more movies to come.
And I liked, when I first heard Jungle Cruise movie, my first thought was Country Bear Jamboree, like, oy vey, we don't need a Jungle Cruise movie. But I love the way they sort of made it, like you said, the Rock version was sort of tongue-in-cheek funny, and then Emily Blunt comes out as the damsel that's not necessarily in distress and doesn't need saving. She rides in on this open-air 1930s, like, period thing, like sort of waving her fingers.
Look, I got to point out Nebula.
Nebula, I love your costume. You're awesome.
He likes Selma Hayek more.
It might be Selma Hayek in costume.
This is not going away.
So okay, so I almost said Selma Hayek comes in. So Emily Blunt, stop distracting. Emily Blunt comes in from the opposite side of the stage in her 1930s open air. Like, no, you guys have this all wrong.
Yeah, and then they replay. Well, they kind of come in with this a different angle on the same clip, where she's on the other side of the door knocking, and.
Yeah, it was two different perspectives.
It was two different perspectives. That was why I was wondering sort of if it was actually they were both actual footage because you were literally seeing two sides of the same door. And then they go on to show Blunt's being kind of a tough chick. And it was kind of Jumanji-esque because that too has like a mystical element, but then they kind of go to the fun stuff. So, and that worked really well. So I wasn't that into. I mean, I love The Rock, but I wasn't that excited about this movie until today.
And that's exactly how I felt. Like when I first heard about it, I was very concerned, and the more I see, the more I'm really excited for it. And so, do you think that when's the film come out?
Next summer? Did you write down the date?
I don't think
summer 2020.
Yeah.
So, do you think that impacts the Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Hong Kong Disneyland attractions at all?
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to take it to that step. I think, especially since we've been seeing Pirates kind of being rewound back to the original attraction, I don't think they'll jump into a new, especially the Jungle Cruise. It's hard to add anything to that. I mean, the Tokyo Disneyland version, they kind of put in a whole storyline that nobody understands, even the Japanese people I know that have gone to it. So I don't think they will. They could always put in a rock animatronic in the cave.
Well, they did it on Pirates.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you would have said 20 years ago, one day we're going to add Johnny Depp to Pirates of the Caribbean, Disney fans would have lost their marbles. Right. You say today you're going to add The Rock to the Jungle Cruise, people lose their marbles until Jungle Cruise makes $80 billion.
I think people would be okay with The Rock and Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, it seems like
calm down, ladies.
At least 51% of the population would be okay.
Selma, I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah, 51% of the population would be just fine with it.
Where's Thanos' that snap?
Right?
I want to be selective. You ladies, I just mean the other 50%, because I love The Rock in there too.
So, speaking of people who might, I'm trying to segue, who would potentially be happy with some representation of actresses and characters in the parks. Next, I'm trying to get somewhere very quickly.
We're listening intently.
I'm trying to follow the road.
Angelina Jolie steps back.
Her.
They're a little slow. It takes them a little while to catch up.
I'm slow. I'm going to leave. Actually, I have to run off to another panel. I have to go do the One Day at Disney panel.
Oh, okay. The secret
I'm
Disney
not saying
project.
anything about that. Thank you all very much. Jeremiah Good.
Laughing Place.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you
very
much.
All right, man, I'll see you. Come back anytime.
Nicholas, take over.
So we're moving back up the couch again. Oh, do you want to?
There you go.
Oh.
I'm here now.
Nicholas wasn't there, but that's fine.
Well, it's good though because without the visual, for some of us, we're trying to get you to tell us what you saw, and so we understand it. Because if you would have walked in and said something funny like, Vision and Wanda in 1950s, Lucy and Desi, we're not getting it.
Anybody else? Was anybody else in the panel? They're not even paying attention. They're having their own conversation.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to Angelina Jolie coming back on stage. First of all, the applause for Angelina Jolie when she came out for the Eternals was probably the biggest of anyone, and then when she came back out again the second time, a lot of people really like Angelina Jolie.
She's fantastic.
Well, I think she's just sort of next level Hollywood. Like, she's somebody that in an event like this, she does Disney movies, but I guess I just don't associate her with Disney. Like, she's not a person I expect to see on stage.
But she's not Maleficent, though. I mean, she did really pick up a lot of Disney fans from.
Yeah. I love a lot of people, but I think I was still surprised to see her on stage.
Right, she didn't, before Maleficent, she didn't sort of give out the Disney vibe.
Yeah.
But she even when she was talking on stage, there's something, and I mean this in an affectionate way, there's something creepy and cryptic and dark about her, which makes her perfect for that role.
She is such an amazing actress that she can channel pretty much any of those characters that she's embraced. And from Maleficent especially, she turned a complete corner from what I've known her from other movies, and it was amazing.
And the girl power on that stage.
Yes.
I mean, are we Michelle Pfeiffer, Elle Fanning, and Angelina Jolie standing up there together?
And Michelle Pfeiffer's like 113 years old and still looks
She's a
really
beautiful
good.
woman.
She's look. How excited were you when you saw Angelina Jolie come out on stage?
I was very excited. Which time?
Which time? For Maleficent.
Very excited. I was like, woo!
You're James Hansen's excited. Is it just because it's Angelina Jolie?
It doesn't hurt.
Mr. Hansen,
I'm okay with.
please step
I'm
away
excited.
from her dressing.
Girl crush, Angelina Jolie.
Absolutely.
She is incredibly amazing, beautiful, stunning woman.
Angelina Jolie, more of a girl crush than Selma Hayek?
Yeah. What's this song, Selma
I've heard you say Selma Hayek about 1,200 times.
Listen, kid.
In this one line.
She needs a little bit. She's having some.
She was on stage for a good 30 seconds, so it was very exciting.
So it was interesting to hear Angelina Jolie talk
Make
about.
it to 15 minutes of fame.
No, talk about why they went back to tell another story, because it didn't.
Yeah.
It's not a film that felt like it needed a sequel to me. Like it seemed fine. It seemed.
The ending
It's
seemed
right. It seemed to be
satisfying.
complete where it was.
Well, I think the original Maleficent was, another side of the original Sleeping Beauty, which I thought was brilliant and I enjoyed watching. But now I think they're taking it a step further and telling a new story.
So explain a little bit about what the storyline is. Just we weren't able to get a lot because.
Yeah. So, fill in the gaps for me because I'll remember what I can. But I mean,
You were there, right? Just checking.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there. But she
It was.
was
We only
so
saw.
I was swooning a bit.
We
Okay.
saw. We also saw a clip out of context. Like they just like here's a. It wasn't a teaser trailer. It was just a section of film.
Got it.
So it basically Elle Fanning, who plays Aurora, comes to her in the beginning of what we saw and says that she wants to marry, and Maleficent denies permission, and then she says, well, we would like to have you as a guest for dinner so that we can change your mind. And then they kind of go to the clip where she comes into the banquet hall or whatever, and Michelle Pfeiffer is the mother of the man that she wants to marry.
Right.
And there's sort of a tense dialogue.
It literally was like dinner with my parents, like with every girlfriend I ever brought home.
And Michelle Pfeiffer is like poking at Maleficent. Was the king murdered? Did he die? And Maleficent kind of says both, which is great. And
Okay.
and then Michelle Pfeiffer, the mother of the fiance, says, from now on we're reaching a turning point, and I am now considering Aurora my daughter. And Maleficent doesn't care for that, and her wings go up in the air, and she kind of does the green magical boom.
And just from a visual perspective, it was beautiful. Like that scene is like the effects in that scene are beautifully well done. Like the wings on Maleficent, they look like they're organic, right? They look like they belong there, like not like a CGI type of thing.
Wow. Visually
And
stunning.
she does look a lot more like ethereal and unreal than she did in the original. I think her skin is whiter, her eyes are greener,
And those
her
the cheekbones are like very like
Okay.
hard and defined.
So do you think this is where it's going to take her, or the story is going to take us to more of the dark sides that we traditionally know Maleficent as?
So I think, the other character that they talked about was from the Dark Fae, and I think they said that we would sort of get more of an introduction to them, and they play more of a role. So,
I feel bad for Maleficent because none of this would have happened in the Sleeping Beauty if they would have just invited her to the wedding.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And if maybe Michelle Pfeiffer wouldn't have poked the bear so much, we wouldn't have Maleficent too. So it's not her fault. She's very much misunderstood.
Yes.
And I feel bad for Angelina Jolie. And if she needs a hug, I'm available.
You're happy to
let
help
Selma
with
hear
that
you say that.
situation. Okay. Yeah, yeah. You're going to... I'm going to leave that alone. I'm just going to handle that. I will listen.
Oh, thank you.
What was next?
Mulan was next.
I am so excited for that.
So my only notes on Mulan are
So
I can't
excited.
wait for this movie. Yeah, that's all I wrote on my
So
notes.
my note for Mulan was, I expect the number of young girls who want to take up kung fu after Mulan debuts to increase exponentially.
Okay, so when is it coming out?
Mulan is coming up in the future
Okay,
at some point.
so basically anybody who wants to open a kung fu
do we
studio
know,
should do
when
it now.
Mulan is coming out?
March 27th,
Of 2020?
2020.
Which is actually closer than when we
Very
think
close.
it is.
We can still open a kung fu studio like tomorrow.
So the things that I picked up from this trailer that we got to see was, it's interesting when you make a live action version of an animated film. You're playing the animated film in your mind, right? So you're sort of comparing scene to scene. And I didn't see it before as much as I saw it now. Some of those iconic scenes from Mulan, including like on the side of the mountain when the arrows are coming in, and we saw that little section where she's doing the tea. What do they call the woman that? The matchmaker, which was not sort of shot for shot, but was still really funny. The thing that concerned me, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's not a musical.
It's not a musical. It is not a musical.
So I didn't understand the choice not to make Mulan a musical again, because the music is so good from that movie. Even the score.
So good.
Well, because I think they're not trying to recreate the animated. You know, when you talk about all of these live action movies that are coming out now, and which ones should be made and which ones shouldn't be made, and so many people are complaining now about them sort of overdoing the live action. And I think so many of the movies, like, Lion King was, you can have your feelings about it. I certainly have mine. I won't get into it right now, but it was an animation, image-driven movie and a music-driven movie that, I thought it was beautiful, the remake. I don't necessarily think it needed to be made. Mulan, I think, is more of a storyline-driven and dialogue-driven movie, and it even was originally. So I think that there is a lot to be had from a live-action version of it, as opposed to some of the other ones that they've been remaking lately.
And
so
again,
I think, it not choosing to make it a musical, they're kind of taking a step away from what was the animated movie and giving you something different.
Trying to make it stand out.
I know, but when I saw the scene of them practicing with the bow staffs, all I heard was, "I'll make a man out of you."
See, that's what I'm afraid it's going to happen to me
I'm
as well.
singing it in my
And I'm
little
sure
head.
you'll get instrumentals, but I don't think that they need to be bursting into song
Yeah.
in this movie.
I kind of wish they were, though, because it'd be
is
so,
so
much better that way.
good.
Yeah.
But it's
I
like
would
every-
miss the music. I think I'd
Want
miss the
them
music.
to burst into song.
It's like every movie from the 50s.
So
like everybody
basically,
breaks out
we'll be in the theater and we'll all stand up and start singing the music.
It's going to be like the
Give
Rocky
everyone-
Horror Picture
Yes.
Show. We're going to start.
Like midnight, we're all going to show up and we're going to
They're
sing
gonna
to
give
the
every
movie.
single person
There we
in the theater
go.
a bow staff.
That sounds like an event we should put together.
But the visuals are beautiful. Again, I love again the period and the location. I really, they did show us one scene where the messenger initially comes to call the families, and that very sort of impactful scene where the father takes off his brace and sort of walks and stumbles. Really, I mean, it sort of hit you. Yeah.
Do you think with
Seeing
the
him
live
shake.
action, do you think that
Yeah.
you're
Seeing the dad shake.
Yeah.
When he's trying to
Like-
hold his sword.
I was going to say, if it's live action, because of course we can identify much more with that. Was it more emotional to see it when they are real people as opposed to
I think
animation?
it will be. I think when
Okay.
that scene is seen in its entirety, you see the women crying, you see the man's handshake, and then you see her take up the sword, and it's solid. I think as it sort of plays out in the movie.
And again, that's why I think this is a live action that really should have been made. You can draw expression onto a lion's face more than you can give expression in a National Geographic style CGI lion. But to see the man, to see the father's hands shaking while he's holding the sword and the tears go down their face, there's a lot of power in that I think you get that you didn't get in the animated version.
And I don't know if they've said out if they've actually said that there's not going to be a Mushu character at all. Right?
No, they didn't.
I was wondering too.
The Drago's on the cane, but right. So that's what I'm saying. Did they ever say? They never said one way or the other if there was going to be a Mushu character.
So basically, she's not going to have any mentor, or who becomes the mentor to get to guide her to that point?
I mean, it's almost like there has to be.
Yeah.
Right? There has to be a
There has to
CGI
be
Mushu
Mushu.
there somewhere. So.
Okay, well, interesting. Okay.
CGI dragon.
Okay, so, but good segue again in terms of movies that you maybe didn't know had to be made. The next one was a new announcement, right? So we got the announcement that Cruella is getting her own. Look at you, Whitney's all, she's doing this thing. You're down with why? So why Cruella? Here's the mic runner. Nick's the mic runner.
She's just perfectly fashionably evil, and I just want to see where her basis comes from with Emma Stone. I mean, and that teaser picture is live. Oh my God, I need that jacket. It's amazing.
So this is really more of a fashion movie for you. It has nothing to do with the actual character. So Emma Stone, and I believe that she said Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. We only saw a little bit of a clip from Emma just sort of welcoming D23 guests.
They very clearly just started.
Yeah.
It was in fact the clip that they showed of Emma Stone. She said it was their first day.
But I didn't see her in the role until they showed us a picture of her.
I'm not sure that I see her in the role, but
so is this an origin story? So we
No,
don't
no,
know.
we have
okay,
no-
so
No, it's the making of Cruella DeVille's jacket.
no, I
So
do
what I
not want
kind
to
of
know
hope-
that.
what
I
I-
don't want to know anything about how that jacket was made or was made up.
what I
It's
kind of hope
It's made
is
of
that
puppies, just so you know.
we get so
The
Maleficent.
Tramp is just a prequel to Cruella.
Maleficent was as interesting as it was because it was a sympathetic version of the story of Sleeping Beauty through Maleficent's eyes.
Right.
And, going into that, you had no idea how they could possibly make this character who was so sort of one-dimensionally evil into a larger story that was sympathetic in Maleficent. So I would love to see a Cruella where we sort of get, and again, it's the same as Maleficent, how in the world could you tell a sympathetic version of Cruella DeVille? But I would love to see sort of her perspective on the story.
Right. So very quickly, while Bill's talking, are those two dudes over there the dueling portraits from Haunted Mansion?
15 minutes, it's going to get really loud.
Haunted Mansion portrait dudes. You guys, I'm talking to you.
Yes, you.
Turn this way. Don't look at the Funkos. Look this way. Oh wait, go do it. Do your line.
Duel.
That's awesome. That is
Great.
super creative.
So
Those
cool.
are awesome. Thank you.
We just left there. The presentation was awesome.
That's dedication.
Yeah. Super
so you-
creative costumes.
You have 13 minutes before it gets super loud.
That's fine. We got two things going on. So the next film that they talked about was Soul.
Now we're going to Pixar. Which is Soul is we're transitioning.
Right.
into
Okay.
Pixar.
Sorry. Yeah. So we're going. So Pete Docter. Right. I missed two tweets. Pete Docter from comes out and talks about Soul with the creative team on stage, and I had no idea what this film was about at all. I thought I did, and then I started to get a little confused. It basically is telling the story that before babies are born, their souls sort of go to this training academy,
Youth
right?
seminars.
What is it?
The youth
youth
seminar.
seminar to learn. That's how, because they said babies are all born with personality traits. They're not getting them from their parents. Where are they coming from? They have no, external input. So they go to this training seminar to learn how to be babies, and then it sort of transitions to real life. And there's a jazz
Music teacher.
right.
A
How do
music
you know that?
teacher who, yeah.
I know all.
So there's a music teacher who's a frustrated musician, wants to be a jazz musician, finally gets his big break, and as Disney movies typical, something horrible befalls him, and
Disney kills the parents.
and his soul, yeah, it'll make more sense when you see it. His soul, I sort of did his soul sort of go back into the fishbowl, and he had.
That seemed like, he went sort of back into the youth seminar, and then he encounters a character called 22 for short.
Because his name is 18,476,500.
Yeah, I guess it's
Okay,
like
so
soul
everybody's
number,
got numbers
long
before
number,
they are
and the
signed.
last-
Got it,
yeah,
okay.
The last two numbers of the long number are 22. So 22 is played by none other than Tina Fey.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
And Soul
That's great.
is played by Jamie Foxx. Both of you came on stage.
Jamie Foxx, you may know him as Electro.
Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey were both on stage.
Jamie Foxx is funny too.
Yeah.
Like he came out like beatboxing and taking selfies and.
Right, so we've got, so Questlove was on the stage, Felicia Rashad was on the
I have
stage.
to wait. I have to tell you that of all the names that you're about to mention, I know none of them other than Felicia Rashad. I don't know what a Questlove is.
So he's the drummer of the Roots. He's the drummer of the Roots.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what Roots is. It's the Alex Haley book.
No. Jimmy Fallon's house band.
Okay. The Tonight Show band.
Yes.
Oh, he's the guy
Roots.
with the hair?
Yes.
Guy with the hair.
Because no one else has hair. It's the guy with the hair.
And David Diggs is the neighbor, who's from, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. The people in the audience knew who they were. The
You're
response was,
getting old.
but I'm like, I'm clearly the old dude in the room because I have no idea who anybody is.
But like Trent Reznor was involved in the music for it.
Oh, that's good.
And,
He's from the Monkees, right?
and Atticus Ross from Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, those guys. Kaja Gugu and the Monkees are going to be in.
Okay, let's get back to Soul.
My brain is hurting so badly right now.
And I think that's it for Soul, right? Was that it for Soul?
Yeah.
Before you hurt yourself.
Because then they had to move onward.
Yeah.
Right?
Tell me about Onward, because I
Yes.
know Tom
Yes.
Holland, I know all this, but please tell me about this project.
Oh my gosh,
I don't
Tom
know
Holland's
anything
right
about
there.
it.
Was on stage with Chris Pratt, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland
Give me
and
all the
Chris Pratt.
Chris's. I will take any of the Chris's, all the Chris's, Chris Pratt. So please tell me about this project.
Mary Rose Mangello, Tom Holland was on stage. And I'm sorry, like, I know I'm biased. Does he not seem like the nicest, most genuine, like, I can't blanking believe I'm here kid in the world?
And at the very, so I just jumped forward. So at the very end of the presentation, he said, "It's been a crazy week. I love you guys 3,000."
Like,
Oh,
and he walked off stage, and I'm like, oh, no, don't
Don't
go.
leave me.
I don't feel good, Mr. Stark. Like, so yeah,
don't take
I don't
me
know if
away.
I was encouraged or frightened when I heard him say that.
I know.
Like I didn't. I was like, oh, you're not saying goodbye, are you?
Sony, don't take me away. Should we
But
start putting
so-
flowers under the balloon? Just
But the crowd went crazier for those two than I think anybody else.
that's great.
Absolutely. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus joined on stage. So Julia
Yeah.
Louis-Dreyfus is playing the mother, and she was on stage as well. But I am super intrigued and emotionally like tied to this movie now.
Can you guys give us a little
So
bit of a
explain,
synopsis?
yeah.
So Tom Holland plays Barley. Tom Holland plays Ian, who's the younger brother, and Chris Pratt plays Barley, the older brother. And the storyline is that it seems like their father passed away, I guess, while Holland's character was either a baby or before he was born. So Ian never really got to know the father. And the mother comes out with this package, and it's got like a staff and a stone. And apparently, like, the father made up this spell that could bring him back for 24 hours so that Ian could get to know who his father was.
I'm not going to be able to watch
No,
this.
no, you will.
No,
because okay, anybody who lost a dad is like, this
Yeah.
movie's. I'm not going to see it. However, that's
It
when
has
things.
Tom Holland in it.
It has Tom Holland, and that's when things take a turn because as Tom Holland is trying to wield this staff and conjure this spell.
So the father like starts to materialize in front of them from the feet up, and he's having trouble wielding the staff. And Chris Pratt's character, the big brother's like, I'll help you, and he grabs the staff to help him, and basically stops the spell that's bringing the dad back at the waist. And so the dad's there, but all they've got is from the waist down.
All right, so the ghost can't see and the ghost can't hear.
Yeah.
So they sort of like are
And
touching.
like Barley comes up and he goes dun 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 dun, and the book goes bum, bum. And they're like, all right. So then they go on this quest to like find another stones to bring all of the dad back.
Infinity Stones.
But in order to like get on the road with the dad without drawing attention to themselves, they do like a fake upper body that's sort of like Weekend at Bernie's.
It's Weekend at Bernie's. I was going to say, that was the next thing. Oh my. Okay. Not having seen this, you gotta imagine how crazy this sounds.
No, it sounds crazy as I'm saying it.
And it's so funny
intrigued.
because it's one of those movies for me too, much like even some of the when I first saw it and heard about it, other than Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm feeling this, like where it existed and what it was about. And then now that I've seen the 8 minutes of footage, like I'm looking forward to seeing this far more than I'm looking forward to seeing Frozen 2.
So is this more of a comedic? Are we getting a comedy? Okay,
it's a
we're
totally
going
buddy comedy Weekend at Bernie's.
Thank God, because the other direction, I don't know how this would work.
It's definitely funny, but with heart. Like, I mean, I think you've got the heart from like the base of the storyline and what they're trying to do, but like it's Chris Pratt and Tom Holland playing brothers, and it's funny.
And you
like,
talk about a dynamic between two people, like even just on stage, like you can tell it's not a forced type of thing. He talks about Tom as sort of like a little brother, and it seems like that's the kind of relationship that they have.
That's great.
He's so much smaller than Chris Pratt. To see the two of them next to each other. Yeah.
Tom Holland's like only like 5'9" or 5'8".
Don't say only when you say 5'9". 5'9" is very tall.
Says the guy that's 5'5".
5'6". I'm 5'6.5", by the way.
That would make me about 5'8". So.
Yeah, I know. I'm 5'4", and we're the exact. I'm 5'4" and a half.
I'm a little taller than him, so if he's 5'8", I'll take that.
Before the parade
I'm 5'4"
passes
now.
by,
Yes, parade.
I had never heard of Raya and the Last Dragon, which is it's going to be inspired by the cultures and stories of Southeast Asia.
Okay.
It was a film I had known
So this is going to be
nothing about.
Thanksgiving 2020. I didn't really know anything other than the title either. It's set in a place called Kumandra, and we saw a clip from it. The graphics, holy next level.
I thought I was watching a live action movie.
The sounds were like very like ASMR-y.
Yeah.
And no, I mean the most beautiful. I remember seeing like the footage from the dinosaur, the good dinosaur. And Moana last time, and like how beautiful it was. This is just next level beautiful.
There's a waterfall scene. So first of all, the one I remember, there's a scene where there's I don't know what the Chinese sort of straw hats are, and rain is falling on it. And I thought it was live action, right? And then there's a scene where there's a waterfall that's flowing upward over rocks. It's gorgeous. It's really.
Animation is no longer animation that as we well knew it way back in the 80s. Wow.
So again, not knowing a lot about the story, but just sort of where it takes place. And then just very quickly, Frozen 2 was the grand finale because they brought the whole cast out.
Right. How's it look? I mean, I got really excited about the trailer when it dropped. Going to a darker place again. Girl power
It's
again.
Frozen, but it's fall.
What did you get out of this we haven't seen before?
Because the D23 Expo Spring Party presented by Alamo will be making its way down Indiana in just a few minutes. With live music.
We're going to try to keep talking here.
Bill is very commanding. Mickey Mouse Disco.
Who had the album? Who had Mickey Mouse Disco album? James Hansen. You still have it? It's on your Spotify playlist.
Glendale has all the merch.
Do they have it? They have the
Glendale
record?
has all the merch.
Oh.
Merchandise.
Really? I have to get one for your uncle. He loved Disco Mickey Mouse as a kid. So finally was Frozen 2. The entire cast was out. They actually came out and sang one of the songs from Frozen 2.
Was it one of the songs? I couldn't tell if it was like a funny thing or if it was one of the songs. They showed a clip where they played Idina Menzel's first song in the movie, and they said there's two Idina Menzel songs. They said the second one they couldn't play because it would have given away too much, but they did play the first one, and it was called Into the Unknown.
Well, do you feel better? Do you feel better about this one than you did the first time? The first Frozen was kind of teased.
I have to once again put my faith and trust in them, where sometimes you see the initial stuff and it might not excite you, but then they obviously, with Frozen, they obviously deliver. I think Frozen is an interesting one because with right, like, you know, following up any successful film is difficult. Frozen's on a whole. That's like trying to follow up Avengers Endgame. Like, how do you do it? Right. So even when I was listening to the music, I'm like, oh, I'm not sort of getting that.
I was not grabbed by the song.
I wasn't either.
But they say that the two movies will sort of function together as a whole.
A single story. They want to tell a single story.
They said that the question that they would most often get, I don't know if this is true or not, but they said the question they most often got was, why does Elsa have powers? Where do they come from? Yeah. Why does Anna not have the powers? And so they kind of backed up and they said, you know, it's gonna address, you know, why Elsa has powers, why Anna does not have powers, and where the parents were going. Okay?
So there's going to be a flashback sequence with her parents, so we understand more. And
I still want to know why they decided to go on the boat together for so long and leave their girls behind. I just want to know that. That's the thing I want.
And maybe Anna has powers that she hasn't found yet.
Yeah. Oh.
So
maybe she's the fall
wait a minute. Maybe she finds powers she didn't know she has, and it takes like a whole dark side kind of thing.
Don't do it.
I don't want to break the microphone. But I mean, for camera purposes, I want to drop.
Can I ask you, the music to that, is it by the same team?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember what their names are, but
it's the same team. Okay. All right.
So,
if Anna does find her powers, I want her to sing "I've Got the Power."
I will say though that the voice of, first of all, Kristen Bell, I love. She's like Kristen Bell.
Oh yeah.
Like she come over to the booth too.
She's very cute. She's spunky. She's incredibly spunky.
And she and Idina Menzel, like their voices are like Idina Menzel. She's got some pipes.
I have loved her since Rent. Since I first discovered her in Rent. And here we go. It's gonna start. So you want to wrap this one up and then go to.
So for those of you watching live, let us know in the comments what film from the studios in the next couple of years are you most looking forward to seeing. But for now, we're going to turn things around so you guys can watch, what do they call it? The Mickey Superstar Disco Footloose Parade.
Let's go dance. Go dance. Get out there.
Mickey's Magical Parade of Wonders. Bye.
Are we coming from that way or that way? From that way? Oh, I'll do that. I'll do that. You want to bring them up? Sitting in the back. Try not to dance and or get excited at all, as I can. So what was the box thinking or saying, or were there any questions? Because we just covered a lot of material. And what was great about not being in the studios is that I got to at least listen to how things were presented and try to formulate in my mind. But I am much more excited about some of this stuff now than I was before, hearing what they did, what's going on. And I'm still now more excited about Simpsons, because I'm serious. After learning all of the Disney origin to the Simpsons, I think that it fits better than I thought that it did when it first was announced. And I know that there's a lot of love for the treehouse, especially. I think we're going to see some interesting things there. And I don't think they're going to stop needling Disney because it's their thing, and I think they have full license to do that as well. It's going to be neat to see what they do with the property. And I think they'd also stated that there are going to be other mediums besides TV that The Simpsons may show up on and entertain us with as well. So that was kind of cool. I enjoyed it. What did you do, Corey? What did the box do? What did the box do while we were in panel? Frozen? I think it's supposed to add on to it, from what I understand, because it's just what's happening next. But then they were talking about the flashback to some origin with the parents and what occurred beforehand and how she got her powers. So I wasn't at that panel, so I am somewhat guessing from what I just was told by Lou. So I am amazed at all the stuff that's coming, though. Rather than a couple of D23 Expos ago, we would hear one or two releases, one or two, these two great movies are coming, and now I can't keep track. I can't keep track of how many movies, how many live actions, how many Marvel movies, and things that are coming to Disney Plus. It's mind-boggling, and now I'm really glad I got Disney Plus. I think a lot of those things I'm not even going to remember they're there until I see them on Disney Plus. Any other questions? Thoughts? Or just saying hi would be great because, I feel like I haven't, the day is going by so fast. I haven't even been posting. I've been gathering content, but between being in the panels, being there, being on the floor, talking to people, which talking to people and meeting you guys outside of the box is what I really enjoy about this. I've met several people that are in the box on Wednesdays, and to put faces to names has been really, really, really fun. Next Expo, I may need nowhere to be found. I may need some help because I have a Lou Mangello, what are we gonna call it? Hijinks? Shenanigans. Becky shenanigans that we may have to pull off in 2 years. The balloon was good though. The balloon it worked well. And it was with minimal effort and minimal cost. Huh? I don't, right behind the, I thought they said you're just a few minutes. So we get, store? Are we doing store later today? You might be. Corey, that's Nick asking his question. That little guy, he popped out of his seat. He was up there. He was in line. He had his A question, his B question, and his C question in case it had been the one he wanted to ask was asked. That was really cool.
coming. You're about to come into this room.
They got to clear everybody out of the walkway. You want a drink?
Lou Mangello, the most talented balloon artist